Mortal na kaaway ni Vladimir Putin ng Russia, mga sangkay. Tenodas na. So ang tanong dito, sino nga ba talaga ang nasa likod? Sino ang mastermind? Si Putin nga ba? So ito guys, pag-usapan mo natin itong patungkol po kay Putin, no? At sa kanyang mortal na kaaway. Pero syempre, bago po tayo magsimula, sa mga hindi pa po nakakapag-subscribe dito sa ating channel, may makikita po kayong subscribe button sa ibaba lamang po yan, mga sangkay. Pindutin nyo lamang po yan. Napakadali lamang yan. I-click ang subscribe, i-click ang bell, at i-click nyo po yung all. So, maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. So ito na nga, pag-usapan po natin ito. Tingnan po natin ang balita tungkol po dito sa isang matinding pangyayari. Ito yun. Ewan ko kung naaalala niyo ito, mga sangkay, na naitapik po natin yan nakaraan, okay? Nakaraang, I think 2 months ago or isang buwan ang nakalilipas. Itong taong to ay nag-aklas laban po kay Vladimir Putin doon po sa Russia. At ngayon, mga sangkay, isa pong pangyayari ang talagang namang bumulasak sa buong mundo. Okay? Itong taong to kasama di umano sa isang eroplano na bumagsak. Kaya nga, ang katanungan dito, kumpirmado daw, mga sangkay, ang katanungan dito, itong si Prigozhin nga ba, na mortal na kaaway ni Putin, ang mastermind ng pagpapatumba sa kanya ay si Putin? O talagang normal lang na pagbagsak na eroplano na yun? Kasi nakakapagtaka. Ito, panoorin natin.
In the last hour, it's been confirmed that Yevgeny Prigozhin, head of the Wagner Group,
Kumpirmado na nga daw, mga sangkay.
was on board the private jet.
Ayun. On board. Kasama po siya sa private jet na yon.
That crashed near Moscow. This is still very much an evolving situation, one that the UK government has said that it is monitoring. In the US, President Biden has said there's not much that happens in Russia that Putin's not behind. Our first report is from our Russia editor, Steve Rosenberg.
So marami kasi, mga sangkay, ang nagsasabi na ang nasa likod itong pangyayari, si Putin. Ang pinakamaangas sa presidente sa buong mundo. Ayan po, mga sangkay. Ito po yun. Ito yung eroplano na sinasakyan.
Caught on camera, the final seconds of a private jet.
Grabe.
On board, reportedly, the head of the Wagner
Ayan,
mercenary group, Yevgeny Prigozhin.
Около фермы.
Hindi lang pala talaga sa movie ito nangyayari. Mas brutal po sa tunay na buhay ito mga nagaganap ngayon. Grabe, no? Alam niyo, mga sangkay, sa tagal ko nang nagpa-vlog at nakakakuha ng napakaraming impormasyon sa iba't ibang istorya, dito ko napatunayan na yung mga nasa movie, katiting lamang po yan sa orihinal o totoong buhay ng isang tao. Mas matindi pa po ang nangyayari sa real life. Gaya po na ito, mga sangkay. Ayan po, ulitin po natin.
Steve Rosenberg.
Caught on camera, the
Caught. Kitang-kita, huli sa akto ng camera.
final seconds of a private jet. On board, reportedly, the head of the Wagner mercenary group, Yevgeny Prigozhin.
Grabe. Ang pagbagsak pa po niya, hindi yung tipong, di ba, yung iba kasi mabilis mabilis na pagbagsak. Pero ito, mga sangkay, makikita nyo, dahan-dahan.
The final seconds of a
Ayan.
private jet. On board, reportedly, the head of the Wagner mercenary group, Yevgeny Prigozhin.
Около фермы.
Look over there by the farm. It's burning, the eyewitness can be heard saying. In the distance, a giant cloud of smoke.
Это крылья, думаешь?
The Embraer
Grabe
plane
na.
had crashed in the Tver region of Russia, north of Moscow. Mr. Prigozhin's right-hand man, Wagner commander Dmitry Utkin, is also thought to have been on board. Later, a Wagner-linked Telegram channel
Ano to? The head of the Wagner Group, hero of Russia, a true patriot of his motherland. Okay? Prigozhin.
confirmed that Yevgeny Prigozhin had been killed. It claimed it was the result of the actions of traitors of Russia.
Ano kasi, mga sangkay, may mga iba nagsasabi na itong si Prigozhin ay traidor. Siyempre, natural mga sangkay, majority. Kasi yan ang sasabihin nila kasi ang nangyari, rebelde po dito si Prigozhin eh. Pero mga sangkay, para naman po sa ilang tao doon sa Russia, si Prigozhin po ay isang bayani. Okay? Ito, tuloy po natin.
2 months to the day since the Wagner chief launched what he called his March of Justice.
Ayan, ito po ang nangyari ha. Before po itong matinding event ni Prigozhin mga sangkay, last 2 months ago, if I'm not mistaken, muntik po nilang lusubin ang Moscow. Okay?
His mutiny, the insurrection by Wagner forces who'd been fighting on the Kremlin side in Ukraine.
Kasi marami po siyang mga kasundaluhan eh. Isang private army na tumutulong actually mga sangkay sa Russia. Pero ang sinasabi kasi, kaya po nag-aklas itong sila Prigozhin dahil nalaman po nilang tinatraidor sila ng mga general ni Putin. Ayon po yan sa report na lumalabas. Pero nung time na susugurin na sana nila yung Moscow, bigla pong mga sangkay, bigla pong ewan ko ano nangyari. Sumurrender ka agad tapos may isa pong makapangyarihang taong kumuha sa kanya.
Ukraine. They rolled unopposed into the city of Rostov. Their demands, the removal of Russia's senior military leadership, who they blamed for setbacks on the battlefield. There were these extraordinary scenes as the paramilitary chief admonished Russian generals. And then they marched on in the direction of Moscow.
Yan po, yan yung time. Napapunta na mismo sila sa Moscow para pululusubin na sana nila sila Putin.
In a direct challenge to the authority of President Putin.
Наши действия по защите
The
Отечества.
Kremlin leader called it
Ito yung time na nagalit na po si Putin. Naglabas po siya ng matinding mensahe.
treachery. Russia, he said, had been stabbed in the back. The mutineers would be punished. But by evening, a deal had been done to end the insurrection. Even though Russian servicemen had been killed, there would be no charges against Yevgeny Prigozhin and his...
So, ang sinasabi po dito mga sangkay na gusto rin ng mga tao na itong si Prigozhin maparusahan. Kaya nga lang, parang wala naman pong nangyari. Nangyari, parang pinatakas lamang po siya. Kaya sa report na ito, di ko natatapusin kasi mahaba. Sinasabi dito na parang ang mga tao doon, gusto rin po nila talaga mahatulan itong si Prigozhin. Ngayon ito mga sangkay, meron po dito what do we know about the plane crash? So very interesting. Tingnan po natin.
That was Diana Magnate in St. Petersburg. Here in the studio, I'm joined by our military analyst, Sean Bell. Hello to you, Sean. Let's start with almost the hardest thing in this case. What are the facts? What do we actually know for sure?
Ayan po yung eroplano, mga sangkay.
Yeah, it's always worth redating ourselves when there's lots of conjecture around this. What we know is that it was a private Embraer Legacy 600 aircraft. It was actually this one, which was owned by Yevgeny Prigozhin. There were 10 people on the manifest, 3 crew, 7 passengers, which include Yevgeny Prigozhin and his deputy.
Okay.
The video that's been shown, obviously taken by mobile phone, shows the weather was really good, so that wasn't a factor in the crash.
O, diba? Maganda po yung panahon. Wala pong kahit na anong problema. So, anong nangyari?
The crash scene, it was evidently not a survivable accident at all. The radar tracks
Ayan,
showed that the aircraft was en route from Moscow Airport to St. Petersburg and crashed north of Moscow. And so far, there's been no comment
My
from either the
goodness.
Kremlin or the Russian Ministry of Defense.
Okay, and what about you with your pilot's hat on? What do you see when you look at these images?
The huge caveat, grey-haired, experienced pilot, but when we were on operations, we'd always look for the twirly smoke of surface-to-air missile systems. It looks different than cloud. That's what we're seeing here. It could be an explosion, but it does look far more like a missile. If we look later in the video, there's also smoke streaming from the wreckage of the aircraft, but actually it looks too light to be smoke. It's almost certainly fuel and vast quantities, so there's a catastrophic failure there. If we move forward even further in the video, we now see the aircraft very close to the ground. Now, either the wings come off or a tailplane's come off, and if we look to the next picture that we've got from the crash site,
Ayun. Ito po.
this actually, we thought was a wing, but actually on closer examination, this is part of the tailplane of the aircraft, and it's landed some distance away from the main aircraft itself. So whatever occurred up there severed the tailplane, and of course that made any crash unsurvivable. What caused this? It was not an accident.
Hindi Hindi daw po aksidente. Ayan po Hindi daw po aksidente ang nangyari. Ayan po dito sa report. It was not an accident.
There was a bomb on board, then it blew outwards. Looks unlikely because there's a very small crash site, or this was a surface-to-air or air-to-air missile which has blown the aircraft.
Grabe. Kaya nga po ang tanong dito ng iba, mga sangkay. Marami pong nagka-question po talaga at yung iba, tinuldukan na po talaga nila na si Putin po ang may kagagawan nito. Pero, ang isa po sa dito, anggulo na nakikita ko, maliban po kasi kay Putin, ang pinaka naging mortal na kaaway ni Prigozhin ay yung mga general ni Putin na siyang nagtraidor di umano kay Prigozhin. Yun yung una niyang tinumbok nung una, mga sangkay, nung nag-aklas po sila laban po sa gobyerno ni Putin, yung mga general. So, it's possible, mga sangkay, na yung mga general ni Putin na pwedeng mayroon pong sasabihin sana itong si Prigozhin na very important, then alam niyo mga sangkay, di ba nangyayari yan sa mga talaga, sa real life nangyayari yun. Instead masabi pa ayan na, pinatumba na. But what do you think, guys? Anong sa tingin niyo? Anong inyong opinion? Tingin niyo ba talaga si Putin po ang may kagagawan sa kanyang mortal na kaaway na leader po ng Wagner Group? Itong si Prigozhin, i-comment nyo po sa ibaba. And now, syempre, guys, hindi pwedeng makalimutan ito. Subscribe nyo po itong aking isang YouTube channel, Sangkay Revelation. Hanapin nyo po ito sa YouTube. At syempre, pag nakita nyo na, click nyo po yung subscribe. Click ang bell. Kasi click ang all. Diba? Napakadali lamang mga Sangkay. So, ayun, ako na po ay magpapaalam. Hanggang sa muli, this is me, Sangkay Janjan. Palagi nyo pong tatandaan that Jesus loves you. God bless everyone.